What is up, guys, and welcome to FPL Today, FPL Q&A for Game Week 10. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. We got a decent start to the stream by the looks of things, if I can bring up the right screen. We have 9 people watching already, so thank you so much, guys, for joining us on the stream. It's great to see you all. And just a couple of things to cover first. We're going to start, as always, with the comments from my 2 videos so far this week. We will cover the extra video I did as well about a certain site, although if you've got any questions about it, I'm ready in here to answer questions about that as well. But we'll start off with the comments, and then we'll get into your questions in the chat as well. An important announcement, more important than anything else, the alcohol's come back, so yeah, you may get one of the intros you guys were used to in the run-up during pre-season to the Fantasy Premier League. So just quick hello to Thomas McCarthy, thank you so much for joining. Siraj Karanja, seeing you a lot now, mate, thank you so much for joining the stream as always. Mukhtar Adam, Chaos is in the chat as well. The beautiful intro, I've changed the music and I'm not playing the intro because it's a bit outdated now. It was kind of mainly for 30 days of FPL, so I don't want to keep using that. We've got Prince Kahujaha, hope I said that right, and also we got AM Saturday. My man is back live. How's it going? It's all good, mate. It's all good. Also, there is a couple of questions I want to ask you guys as well in the chat about what I can do moving forward with this channel and the other channel that I've got that I haven't really done much on recently. But anyway, all of that's been said now. Let's start, of course, with the comments from the videos, because the reason I do this is so the people that ask comments can see my answer early on in the video. They might not be interested in the rest of the live stream. So we'll get to that first of all. So we're starting off with the latest comment. It was posted an hour ago. Thank you very much, Siraj Karanja. Nice to see you in the chat, ready to see my response to this comment. You must do a live stream on Monday so that people can make transfers before price hike. Most FPL managers make transfers early, unlike me, waiting for cup games to get over. If you do Mondays, you can get more viewers. That is definitely true. Only real issue with that is I very rarely get Mondays off. Although, speaking of which, after the coming game week, I do have Tuesday off. So it's very possible that I might be able to do a Monday live stream next week. But my rota isn't a fixed rota. I usually get 2 days off a week, but those 2 days can change, and then I have earlies and lates, and depending on business needs, I sometimes have to do a twilight shift or an early or whatever you want to call it. So my shifts are ever changing. For instance, I was going to stream on Friday because I was on a late on Friday, and I was off on Thursday, but I was going to relax and enjoy Thursday with my family. But Friday's shift has gone to a twilight shift, which means I finish even later. So I finish about 11 o'clock at night on Friday, and then I go work Saturday as well. So I won't have time Friday, so we've moved it to Thursday. That is why my live streams will never probably be a fixed day of the week, unfortunately. I know that can be annoying for you guys. You can't plan around it and all that kind of stuff. Apologies for that, but that is why I don't always do the streams as early as possible. I've also got the videos to get done as well. We've got a question from Ahmed Ibrahim. Hi, can you help me with a free hit and bench boost full team suggestions? That's a very loaded question. Full team suggestion could take for absolute ever. What I will do for you though, Ahmed Abraham, is I will go over the teams I think you should be focusing on as far as players to be picking from, and maybe throw in a few suggestions on players from that. So at the moment, the players that are really in form, you're looking at Scott Pope. His fixtures I don't think are too hard in goal. Newcastle, Southampton, Swansea next. He does have Arsenal in Game Week 13 and then Bournemouth, but he is on good form. Despite losing to Man City 3-0, Pope looks good. Fabianski, Swansea, looks like a possible choice, although the fixture list has got Arsenal next and then Chelsea away in Game Week 14. But between that is Brighton, Hove Albion, Burnley and Bournemouth. They have been the standout keepers to me. Matt Ryan also is in decent form for Brighton, Hove Albion, and their fixture list isn't too bad. Southampton, Swansea and Stoke next. Do have a tricky Man United away tie and then Crystal Palace. So goalkeeper wise, I think that's where you're looking at. Speroni could be the first team choice for Crystal Palace, but I need to see a bit more from him before I go with him. And if you're looking at more expensive options, you've got Fraser Forster, you've got Edison, of course. Man City are keeping clean sheets. Pickford, Everton's fixture list does get easier now, and Pickford still has looked pretty good in net, although Everton haven't looked that good as a side. Of course, you want to focus on Man City players, I think, are a must at the moment. Spurs players, despite their tough fixtures coming up, I think they're still a side you need some coverage from. They've shown against Liverpool that their top players can score. Their away form has been good, but Man City are the one with the easiest fixture list out of the top scoring teams. Liverpool, of course, however, have now got an easier run apart from Chelsea in Game Week 13, Huddersfield, West Ham and Southampton next. So you want to be focusing on those side. Arsenal looked amazing over the last weekend, but they do have in Game Week 11 and then 12 Man City and then Tottenham Hotspur. So you want to be looking at the big teams, and at the moment Man City, Liverpool have the easiest fixtures out of them. Once Man United get past Tottenham and Chelsea, they then have an easier run from Game Week 12, so you do want to be looking at those players. Defenders that are in form, Otamendi seems like a very popular choice right now. You've got Charlie Daniels, who's always capable of scoring, and Bournemouth fixtures definitely looking better. Ward seems like the Burnley option to be going for. Spurs wing-backs look a bit risky at the moment, so Vertonghen looks a decent shout, because if he's not playing in the back two or back three, he has also been playing as a left back as well. So he looks like the versatility option that's going to get used a lot by Pochettino. And other than that, Azpilicueta looks good as well, on and off form, but has been getting assists and goals. Maguire, if Leicester City get a manager in quickly. Firmino from Watford. Watford have been very impressive recently as well. So Watford is a good team to look for some Fantasy Premier League assets. We've then got Mohamed Salah. As far as fixtures and form, Mohamed Salah looks pretty good going forward. Sterling has looked great but got rested last game. I think the thing with the Man City options is pick one or two or three if you can pick a nailed-on player, and then just accept the fact that they might not play and have stronger players on your bench to come in if necessary, because they're scoring points. You can't deny that at all. Richarlison has looked pretty damn amazing for Watford as well, so I definitely think about getting Richarlison in. Silva is the nailed-on option in Man City's team, although now I've said that, that'll probably be jinxed. Christian Eriksen has looked the best Tottenham midfielder option for me. Hazard is coming back to form, and the fixture list is starting to look good for Chelsea. You've got Sane, of course, as well. Zaha back in that Crystal Palace team. Choupo-Moting also looking like he could be capable of scoring Fantasy Premier League points. Aaron Ramsey, Pascal Grosch also worth mentioning. And then up front, we've got Kane, Lukaku, Aguero, Jesus, Morata, Lacazette as the standout premium price options. After that, you're kind of looking at Abraham, Vardy, Firmino as the backups. Rashford, if he keeps starting as well. Okazaki keeps getting points as well. And Hosselu, we're waiting for him to actually put chances away. So I've actually gone into that a lot more detail than I was planning on. So hopefully that has helped you there, Ahmed Abraham. And then we've got Sazank C. This is a comment off of the Fantasy Premier League tips video I did, calling him out for what I feel is a move you shouldn't be allowed to make on YouTube, the whole point of YouTube. And I've got strikes before, and I don't know how he's not getting his video struck down. But if you haven't seen it, I have done a video on this guy. Sazank says, I knew he was copying the official FPL videos. I watched them on the FPL website instead. Once I realised that Facebook Live videos weren't his too, I started watching those on Facebook as well. That's what I think we should be doing, because basically he is just copying someone else's content, which means they, the official FPL and their hosts and everyone, aren't getting the views themselves. They're missing out on views because people are watching it on YouTube instead. Thomas McCarthy, again, had a terrible week, below the average again. Daraj, both these two, massive supporters of the channel. Got to thank them every time I see their names. Daraj got 39 with a -4. Very sorry to hear that. I've actually done not too badly recently. I'll quickly go over my rank in a second. Suraj says to take off Davies for Otamendi. That's definitely something I'm considering, mate. Seb Hodson, long-time supporter. He was there around back in the day when I did a collaboration Football Manager series with the likes of Dave Azzopardi and Kurt Joy when I was West Brom manager. He's been around for a long time. Good video. next time could you make the graphic bigger. The problem with the graphics is if I make it bigger, it won't fit the layout. And I'm not the greatest person at making layouts. I have a guy that makes it, but unless he's feeling kind or wants some exposure, I have to pay him. And ideally, I'm not raking in that much money where I'll be paying for new layouts. But we'll take that into account next time I do a layout, definitely, Seb. Anugra Prasad, why not Trippier? I think he's fit replacement for Davis. That's true, but when Aurier comes back, again, rotation risk. So I think Spurs wing-backs are not worth really looking at. Chaos, what do you think of my teammate? I read my teammate as in he's playing football. Did Lukaku to Aguero yesterday. He's got Pope, Otamendi, Maguire, me, Hazard, Coutinho, David Silva, Richarlison, Loftus-Cheek, Aguero, Kane. I like that team. I would personally maybe take out Coutinho. I have a feeling he doesn't want to play for Liverpool anymore. That's my personal opinion. So he could still probably get good returns, but I just feel like there's better options in the long term from Liverpool. Gabriela Obala was very kind to answer that question as well. That's on the screen for you there for a bit. Brett Dyer, again, if all of this is the Fantasy Premier League tips video, I won't get too much into it, but a lot of comments on that video. Kind of well received, kind of also not well received. If we have a look at the likes on that one. So far we've got 80 likes to 10 dislikes. Some people not happy. They like the fact that the content's on YouTube. To that I'd say message official FPL and see if they'll start a FPL website, YouTube channel themselves, although I personally don't want that as a content creator, because then I'm going to be struggling against the actual full Premier League power that they have. So thank you guys so much for the comments. The comments really do help me out, as do the likes. I have set like targets on my videos for the first time because they do help give YouTube the idea that everything's going correctly and that the video is giving the right sort of content that people are searching for. So if we actually have a look at my Game Week 10 video, my team, we have 61 likes, which is very, very good. We still got a long way to go in the week. If that can hit 100, that would be amazing. And that is all about that. So thank you guys so much for your patience. I know you've probably been asking questions in the chat, but I do like to get those done out the way first, just so the people that have asked questions will get their questions answered quickly. And I can't even think of another word for it, so I'm going to take a drink of my beer. And then I'm going to quickly address the Fantasy Premier League tips video and how it went down. And then we'll get onto your questions in the chat. 17 watching so far. We're 14 minutes in. I went that long through the questions. We got some other people in the chat. I saw Jeff Holt's name in there, Jack Nash, Craig Manuel, Michael Foley, Henry Hensmoke as well. Thank you guys so much for joining the stream. If you guys didn't know, I've got the beers back in. The wife went to the shop and got me the beers as well, so thank you, Mrs. J&O. And on to the Fantasy Premier League tips video. Now, a lot of people say I shouldn't have necessarily done that video and called him out for what he was doing, but the fact is he's making money off of this. He's now even started putting adverts before his video. I think he realises his time may be up. I'm saying he, it could be a she, it could be a group of people. However, I think they realise their time might be coming up because, one, I've called them out on it. Two, all of the content creators around Fantasy Premier League have now noticed them. We have reported him to the official channels. So it may get taken down soon, it may not. He may have all of his money claimed for official FPL. They can do that. They can let him put it up and then say, well, that's our content, so we can leave it there, but all the advertising money will come to us. So I think that's why suddenly he's got, or they have, video adverts on their channel. They've also tried doing the top 10 goals from the game week as well. I'm not sure about the legality of putting highlights of football onto a channel. I know a lot of channels do it though, so I think they're probably allowed to do that, which is fair enough. Anything they're allowed to do, they can do. But it was hurting people, not just me, but it was hurting my views, it was hurting my growth. So yes, I was trying to protect my channel from the way that channel was affecting me, but it was also hurting a lot of other people as well. People that I've got close to in this community that have helped me, I've helped them. So I did what I feel like I have an ability to do, which is try and make a little bit of a joke out of it, but then also be serious at the same time. And I do sometimes make other content. My editing's average at best, but try and do something a bit entertaining to get people's attention and then hit them with the truth. Now, some people don't agree with me. That is fine. It's a world of free speech. That is your right and entitlement to not agree with me and to watch that video or their videos. Or you can agree with me and support the channel and support the other content creators by not viewing his stuff anymore or their stuff. So that is all I'm really going to say about that, unless there's any specific questions. So we will now get to the chat. So a lot of hellos at first. Rad Robbie Roller. I've not seen you before. Welcome to the stream, mate. Rad Robbie Roller, if you subscribed and I missed it, I apologise. But it should pop up on the screen if you subscribe. The flock were very happy when I first got that in. A bunch of them were unsubscribing and then subscribing again, just so they could see their name pop up on the screen. We had a bit of a rush of that at one point. So I'm just checking my phone for some football scores as well. Craig Manuel, yeah, I've already seen you, mate. Great to see you in the chat. AGCC, sorry I didn't see your name. Craig Manuel likes the fact that the drinks are back. Crime, I believe that is Dan Brandy. Cry me a milkshake, saying hello Johnny. If you don't know who Dan Brandy is, he's a friend of mine I play FIFA with. I'm pretty sure that's Dan Brandy. If Brandy? Dan Ringsell. Where do I know Dan Brandy from? But yeah, it's Daniel Ringsell. So apologies, I've already got his name wrong. So he's joined the stream and I get his name wrong. But yeah, play FIFA with him. Great lad. Michael Foley, how are things? Things are good. Still working hard 5 days a week and then doing all of this FPL stuff. But things are good, I can't complain. Is Phil Jones fit to play this weekend? So first question from AM Saturday. Let's have a look at what my sources is saying. So I have Phil Jones down as I've got Phil Jones down as fit. That doesn't mean he's necessarily going to play. It just means he could play because he's fit enough to play, but they might, depending on his match sharpness and fitness, not play him. But from what I understand as well, I have seen somewhere that Jose Mourinho says Jones should be fit by the weekend. Craig Manuel, I always get Pope's name wrong. I'm actually going to have a look it up now. What is Pope's name? I think I've called him Scott every time I've mentioned him, and it's not Scott. Yeah, it is Nick Pope. What? Who is Scott Pope? I've said Scott Pope so many times. Every time I mention him, Scott. David Silva, should I keep or get Hazard? I see no reason to get rid of a Manchester City player at the moment, to be honest. It's completely up to you. If you think he's the best option for you to get rid of and you really want Hazard in, then I'd consider it. But I just see no reason to get rid of a Man City player while you have them, unless you think they're not going to play. And David Silva's one of those that is playing at the moment. If I try and find his stats, David Silva has played 4 in the last 4, and he's played in the entire season in the Premier League. He's played 9 games, and we're 9 game weeks in. So he's also started every game, so he's a guaranteed starter. I know Hazard is as well, but I'd maybe look at someone else in your midfield depending on who you have. I wouldn't get rid of Silva at the moment. Thank God my face hasn't frozen yet, by the way. I know they're different positions, but Hosselu or Choupo-Moting. I'd say Hosselu because I feel like Newcastle are in better form. Actually, that's a lie. Hosselu's conversion's been awful. I'd go Choupo-Moting. His return on his underlying stats is just better. If we look at the last 4 fixtures, which is what I'm going to start doing from now on, because I I feel like looking at the last 4 gives you a better idea of how they're doing as a player in their current form, instead of, if you look at the entire season, sometimes stats can be boosted by a specific period. For instance, Kevin De Bruyne didn't have a good first 4 game weeks, but he's been on fire ever since. So if you look at the last 4 game weeks, he's going to show up a lot more as far as his underlying stats. Choupo-Moting, as far as goal attempts, he's had 11 goal attempts, 8 of which have come inside the box in the last 4. If we compare that to Joselu, we have Joselu, if I just find him. He's had 5 goal attempts, 5 inside the box. So Choupo-Moting has been getting better underlying stats, and therefore may be a better investment for you if you're comparing the two. Michael Foley, Lindelof, do you think he'll play this weekend? I think he'll get dropped after his recent performances, personally. I think if Phil Jones is fit, Phil Jones will come in. That's my personal take. I feel like Mourinho is high on Jones at the moment, and Lindelof, while he was brought in by Mourinho, oh, sorry, my voice went. That's what happens when you drink beer. I feel like Lindelof is getting slowly brought into the side. Could be that he just doesn't have a great season first season and then settles in second season. I think Jones will definitely play over the weekend. AM Saturday agrees with me about keeping Silva. Jeff Holt saying hello to the flock. Is there a birdie emoji? If there is, we should make that a thing. Also, speaking of which, once I get sponsors, and there should be a button under the video, if you sponsor the channel, it basically means you support the streams. I can then start releasing specific emojis for just us guys to use, the sponsors to use in the chat. I've almost put a robot in the chat. Is there a bird? I know I'm going completely off course now. Where are the animals? I will get back to FPL in a second. I promise. There you go. It's a bit like the Twitter bird as well. But there you go. You don't see me posting in the chat that often. So there you have it. And now I can't. There we go. Got the chat back to normal. True, but other City players can. There are other City players that can get bigger points, but are you guaranteed they're going to start, Michael? Apart from De Bruyne, I think if you look at Man City players as a whole, if we look at the last 4 fixtures, De Bruyne has started all 4. Sane has started all 4, but Sane has only started 5 games so far. That could be that Sane is favoured and he just wasn't match sharp yet, potentially. Silva's started all 4. And then, if we look, Sterling has started 3. And I think those are the main midfield options. Bernardo Silva has had 4 appearances as well, but I don't think he's started many. He started 2 out of the 4. So that's the problem right now. You have rotation risk if you pick a Man City option as far as attacking players go in that midfield. Siraj really doesn't want Lindelof to start. Which is fair enough. He's not looked that good, has he? Aim Saturday, if you have budget to go Kev, go for it. Otherwise, stick with Silva. I generally agree with that. I mean, if Sterling plays and if Sane play, they have high scoring potential, but they're not nailed on. And if you have a look at my team from last game week, the game week before, Sterling and Jesus absolutely run riot for me. But this game week, I got 1 point from Jesus because he's brought on a sub and played 14 minutes. And I got nothing from Sterling. And my problem right now is he didn't start, Jesus. Nias didn't start, but he somehow went and scored a goal for me, which was fantastic considering he only played for 15 minutes. Sterling didn't play. And then my defence just didn't really turn up. Davis didn't play, so I believe me came in for Davies. So yeah, if Kane hadn't had an absolute blast of a game week and I left my captain on him by accident, who knows what my game week score would have been. But Harry Kane absolutely saved me the last game week. I'm 40 points behind on my mini league. Time to quit. Never time to quit, Henry. I've said this story before, and I'll say it again. When I first started this channel, I was talking about FPL because I enjoyed it, and I got a lot of followers quite quickly for a channel just starting out. I went from 0 to about 100 to 200 subscribers very quickly during pre-season because not many people were doing it at the time. And then my ranking was awful at first, absolutely terrible. And then it just suddenly started to improve, and I started to climb up that table, and I finished in the top 25k. And then the second season, I had a great season pretty much all around, just missing out on the 10k. This season, again, I was 1.7 million in like game week 4, 5, 6, 7. In fact, let's take a look-see at it. If we go to my team and we go to game week history, we can see that I started off great, 94,000. Then after game week 2, my overall rank was 609,000. I was okay with that. Then I went up to 1.2. Then I came down to 918,000. Then I went up to 1.7 in game week 5. I did absolutely terrible that game week. I got 44 points, so just poor. But then if you've seen, ever since then, I've been slowly improving, and I hopefully will continue to improve, although there's still things I need to fix in my team. But if you look, I used my wild card, game week 4. Had a little bit of a rise, and then bang. Massive, massive drop. So it's not over, definitely not over. You can make those points back up, so don't give up just yet, my friend. Stay tuned to the channel and you'll start rising up the overall rank, I promise you that, because some people will stop playing. AM Saturday agreeing with me, a lot of time for a comeback. You can always make a comeback. That's the beautiful thing about this game. Beautiful thing about football. Always a chance of a comeback. Sorara says Lindelof will only play cup games. I hope so. I much prefer to see Jones in that Man United defence if I was going to invest in it. My transfer for Game Week 9 was Davis to Otamendi. Genius, Chaos. Absolute genius. If I'd done that, I'd have done even better. Cheeky beverage. By the way, in the chat, we used to do this during pre-season. If you've got a drink you're drinking while watching the stream, leave it in the chat so we can all see what everyone's drinking, what's everyone's tipple. Man, I'm making myself sound old. And thumbs up for the fact that my face hasn't frozen in this stream yet. Fingers crossed. Rad Robbie Roller asks, do you think Aurier at Spurs is a safe bet with their wing backs? They paid 25 million for him, so surely he'll be first choice. I personally think Pochettino does have first choice defenders, but he will rotate no matter what, because they're contending at the moment on the grounds of the Premier League, the Champions League. They may want to win a cup as well, so they've got to rotate. And wing-backs is one of those positions that can get rotated a lot, and they have good quality second choice options. And I've heard that they're interested in Kieran, is it Kieran? Oh, I've forgotten his name. Tierney? The Celtic left-back. They're interested in him as well, so definitely plenty of options for Pochettino at right and left-back. Henry Hensmoke, David Silva or Aguero and Jesus. So wait, you can have David Silva or Aguero with Jesus? If that's the question, I wouldn't double up on the Man City strikers, because I just feel like you're not covering your bases up front. I mean, it's probably a good option actually, because you're guaranteed to have one of them, and if they keep playing the way they're playing, one of them will start and you'll get the points. But then you're not going to also be able to afford Harry Kane. And I personally think the way Harry Kane is playing, he's going to end up with the Golden Boot again this season. So I'd go David Silva and Jesus, if that's the way that question's meant to come out. Henry Headsmoke, AM Saturday says I'd take a step back from Jesus, as I feel like Aguero will be getting the most minutes. I'd worry about Sterling though myself Saturday, just because he got rested recently. But Silva and KDB, they look like the nailed on options. I think Jesus will start games. It could be when there's a big fixture around the corner and Guardiola wants to keep Aguero for that. It could be just for different games, different opponents, different defences. He plays one or the other. So I'm worried about those two, and I think Morata is a good enough second option that you could then maybe hedge your bets on a midfielder and a defender from that Man City side. But of course, I can be wrong. Red Mancunian is in the chat. How are you doing? What's the highest ranking you have ever had, JNO? I'm currently so happy to be second in your league and 800 in the world. Well, you see, Jeff, when you watch this channel, great things can happen. 800 in the world. That is crazy. One year, I hope to be 800 in the world. My highest ranking ever. Off the top of my head, I don't remember my highest ranking ever. I'm assuming you don't mean at the end. I'm assuming you mean like at any point in the game. Unfortunately, you can't see your history from before. But as you can see, my highest end rank was last season at 10,083. I'd probably do better if I didn't run this channel. And that may sound strange, but I'd have more time to just purely focus on my team instead of delivering content. As you can see, these first 2 seasons, I didn't really focus on it. It was only after the World Cup 2014 when I started taking this seriously, and since then I've always been in the top 100k. I need to get back into that to feel a bit better about myself. But your ranking is just incredible, Jeff, and love the fact that you're one of my subscribers, because at least I can boast about that. Someone that does watch my channel is doing rather well. Red Mancunian, new on the chat but subscribed a while ago. Happy to see you part of the flock in the chat. That's always great to see people that have been subscribed and can finally get a chance to join the chat. So welcome, Red Mancunian. Feel free to ask any question you want at all. Jack Nash, take a -4 for Davis. Both him and Rose started in tonight's game, though. Did they? I mean, I still worry. That means one of them could potentially start over the weekend, but it could mean neither of them start, because Vertonghen can play at left back. And then if Aurier's back from his suspension, I believe he's suspended, then neither could play. Or Kieran Trippier could play. So I'm worried about having wing backs from Spurs at the moment. Prince Kahuja, what is the best formation right now for maximum points? That's difficult because every game week has different fixtures. And every game week, sometimes the defenders do really badly, sometimes the defenders do really well. A lot of people have been talking about playing more at the back or more in midfield. But if we look at the last game week gone, and if we look at the top scorers, so defence-wise, if you had Otamendi, no one else scored over 10 points. If you loaded up on the right midfielders, though, you had 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 with 10 points or more. And then there's only 3 strikers that got 10 points or more. You could have afforded all 3 of them, to be honest, Kane, Murray and Batshuayi. But then if you see there's only 1 defender on 9 points, Van Dijk, whereas you have 3 midfielders on 9 points, and then you have at least 2. I'm not going to click to see more. So I personally still think 3 at the back is the best way to go, because I feel like, especially in the Premier League, the way it is at the moment, there are quite a few goals. So I wouldn't necessarily think defence, unless you can pick players like Ben Davies a lot and Otamendi. If you're getting those defenders, then great, you're going to be absolutely laughing. But I still think 3 at the back is best, and then either go 3-4-3 or 3-5-2. I've played both this season so far. At the moment, my team is 4-3-3, but that's purely because my defence is in... I think my midfield is not very good for this game week. I think that's why. But I need to improve my midfield, my defence, and my force up front. I'm lucky to have the Man City players last game week and Kane this one. Good evening, Justin Grierson. Nice to see you. I've got a beer, by the way, just in case you wondered if I might have been slurring already. West Ham have equalised. Another hoops. Get in. When did that happen? My phone did not tell me that happened. So, yeah. Great news. Thank you for sharing that with me. You're selling him for someone else. Otamendi seems like the standout option to me at the moment. AGCC thinks Jones will be good. William Hopkins, IU 2 goals in 2 minutes against Spurs. Price rise. It's potential, price rise. And IU has always been a player that I've liked the look of. Just, I need him to be informed to have him. But he had great moments for me 2 seasons ago when he played for Swansea. So I'd like to see IU return to form, especially as he plays for West Ham. Thank you, Thomas McCarthy, for the reminder to everyone. Please like and share. And speaking of that, we're just going to quickly tweet out the video again. See if we can get some more faces up in here. There we go. So back to the stream. I've got 2 free transfers. Need to take out Clark and Mbemba. Best £4.5 million options. In defence, on form, I tell you what, Alberto Moreno, I know it's a Liverpool defender and I nearly always say don't look at Liverpool defenders, but 6 chances created, he's got 1 assist so far, and he's started 7 games out of 9 in the Premier League so far this season. I was not expecting to even be mentioning him when you asked that question. Firmino from Watford. Watford are looking good. Firmino looks very good as a wing back for Watford. Definitely consider him. Joe Gomez has apparently appeared in the last 4 as well. Again, you're not going to get clean sheets from them, but he started 6 out of the last 9 as far as a player goes. He's looked good, but you're not going to get clean sheets from that Liverpool defence. Well, it's unlikely. Musaka's 4.4, but I wouldn't really go anywhere near West Ham. Bruno at Brighton. Brighton, Hove Albion have a decent up-and-coming fixture list, including Southampton, Swansea, Stoke and Palace. So you could potentially look there for a £4.5 million midfielder. Ward has risen up to 4.7, so he's probably a bit too expensive for you now. Cameron at 4.4 if you fancy Stoke. You've got Duffy and Dunk at Brighton Hove Albion, 4.5 and 4.4 each. They've had 3 attempts in the last 4 games each. You've got me, of course, 4.5 million. Burnley. Burnley can get clean sheets. Marino's popping up again in my underlying stats, but again, like I said, you're not expecting clean sheets. So those would be my shouts for £4.5 million defenders. Silva is a guaranteed starter, but he isn't someone who will get you massive points, or he just picks away in games. That's the thing, though. Sometimes having a player that can just get you an assist or a goal in most games in the season, that's going to all count. It's all going to add up as long as the season carries on. So it's always good to have those consistent points as well as your big point scorers. So if you have someone like Kane who can have a massive game week haul, and you have someone like Morata or another Man City striker, then Silva just getting you 7 points is going to help as far as your ranking is concerned. That 7 points could be the difference between rising in rank every week and dropping in rank every week. So I always think a player like that is just as valuable as some of the big hitters that score massive points. Jeff Holt's got a captain dilemma. Got Kane against Man U or Firmino or Vardy. I mean, I might just go with Kane captain for the rest of the season and then just stop worrying about it. Leicester have a new manager, probably by then, against Everton, who haven't been doing too great. They may be trying to prove himself, so that may go in your favour. Huddersfield have just had a good win against Man United, and now are playing Liverpool, Huddersfield. So potentially Firmino could do well. I still fancy Kane, to be honest. That sounds stupid to me when I'm saying it out loud, but I still fancy Kane. Hey Jenna, I made a mistake getting Aguero in for Lukaku this week after playing 120 minutes last night. Who have Man City got again? West Bromwich Albion. I feel like Jesus could play against West Brom. It's a game where Guardiola may be willing to rest players. I wouldn't say necessarily, because he's had the time off because of his injury. So he may be fully fit. and ready to play another game so soon after. I believe it might be a Sunday kickoff. I could, of course, be wrong. I am wrong. It's the Saturday kickoff, Tuesday to Saturday. I reckon he could still make that game. I still think he could play, but I just wouldn't be certain about it. We got some birds from the flock in the chat. Questions are still rolling in, which is fantastic. The false 9 is in the chat. Would a free hit be a good idea, seeing as Kane and Lukaku are facing each other and probably won't get many points? Never be certain when big teams face each other that you won't get big points from that. Now, yes, there have been fixtures where it's just been a 0-0 draw when big teams face each other, but there's also fixtures like Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, where just one team dominates the other team gets deflated very quickly. So yeah, I wouldn't necessarily use a free hit just because you think two players are coming up against defences that might not score. Mourinho, of course, is the type of manager, though, that might try and shut up shop. So it's possible, but I wouldn't use the free hit purely because I think the best use for free hit, and what a lot of people will do, is use it when there's blanks in the game week. And if you don't have the free hit then, you will have to plan for that blank game week, whereas everyone else won't have to plan for it and can optimise their points around it, and then also have the exact same team as you if necessary for that blank game week. False 9 was going to wildcard this week, but got a decent 65 points last game week. If you feel like wildcarding, if you think you can pick a side and then bring in Kane or Lukaku for the next fixture, that might be a decent move. We're almost halfway to the point where you will have to use your wildcard chip anyway, so it's up to you. Craig Manuel, I've actually had De Bruyne all season. I'm happy I kept him even though everyone is saying go for the others. I wish I'd kept him. I told everyone for 4 game weeks De Bruyne is good. De Bruyne will get points. De Bruyne is the heart and soul of that midfield. Then I lost faith and I got rid of him, and I've suffered every single game week watching him get points. So if I just listened to myself and not eventually got on board with the bandwagon that he wasn't going to score goals and get assists, I'd be laughing right now and being like, I told you so. Because I was getting stick for it, having De Bruyne. Everyone was saying, why have you still got him? And eventually I buckled, and now I'm regretting it. So sometimes just stay true to your word, even if it means you're going to fail in the end. AJCC agrees with my way of using the free hit. You are not old enough to remember a flock of seagulls, are you, JNO? Unfortunately not. No. Actually, do people know how old I am? If you know how old I am, put it in the chat. I'm not sure I've ever actually mentioned it, so I just wonder, if I haven't, what age you all think I actually am. AM Saturday seems to remember them. I'm really intrigued as to when they were now, because maybe I should remember them. Sane, top scorer midfielder in Premier League. He's a good player, another hoops. If he nails down a starting berth, I would go with him. But I thought Sterling had, and then he hadn't. So, Hammers are 3-2 up. Are you winding me up? I'm missing this to stream for you guys as well. But to be honest, I think this will strengthen Spurs in the Premier League. We are playing Spurs, aren't we? I'm not being dense, am I? This makes it very clear that I support West Ham because of my wife. We are playing Spurs. Okay, my phone doesn't tell me that. Oh no, it is 3-2 and it's almost over. Should have bet on that game. Damn it. Okay, I have Ben Foster and Johnny Evans in my team. Should I keep or get them both? I have Lukaku. I don't want an 8-point hit. I'd keep one of them. I mean, West Brom can get clean sheets. Maybe not doing so great beforehand, but they can do it. Get in, you Irons. Come on, you Irons. Chaos is drinking water. Very, very sensible, Chaos. Very sensible. Any good free option forward under 6 million and good fixtures? So, if we look at good fixtures first, we have Everton, we have Burnley, we have Brighton, all with 3 favourable next fixtures. Then we could also look at Bournemouth, who have 4 favourable fixtures after the Chelsea game this game week. We have Stoke with 4 decent fixtures before Liverpool in game week 14. We have Palace as well. Apart from Spurs, they don't look too bad as far as the running goes. Watford have 4 favourable fixtures. So we need £6 million striker and cheaper. I didn't mention Swansea in that, so that means Tammy Abraham isn't really an option right now. So I need to find my forward page because I've got all these pages up. Right now, the informed players that come into your price bracket, as far as attempts go, you have Calvert-Lewin at 5 million with 12 attempts on goal. Diouf from Stoke, 5.5 million, 11 attempts on goal. You've got Shane Long, 10 attempts on goal in the last 4. You have Andy Carroll, 9 attempts on goal. And he's only played 3 of the last 4, however. Niasse has appeared in the last 4, but a lot have been as substitutes. He's not got that many minutes compared to some of the others that I've just mentioned. He has had 8 attempts, however, so if he could nail down a starting place. Rodriguez. So out of the ones I've mentioned being good options. Did I say Stoke? I did say Stoke, so Diouf is up there. Is it Diouf? I wasn't really thinking I'd pick Diouf. Diouf. Messing the name up. The thing is, I really do like Wood, but he's 6.6 million, which is a bit too expensive for you. I mean, Murray, Brighton Hove Albion, 5.7 million. If he gets game time secured, could be a good shout from Brighton Hove Albion as well. But that's difficult. Everyone is struggling at the moment to find that cheap, good striker as a third option. Okay, Craig Manuel, the season of the marathon, not sprint. Exactly, my friend. Jeff Holt, Ovaltine. There's nothing wrong with Ovaltine. I just don't have it in the house. Prince Kakujaha is drinking a better lager than I am. I'm drinking Carling. My wife picked this, and I like Carling, don't get me wrong, but it's not my favourite beer. Thank you, William Hopkins, for correcting me on the left back that Spurs are apparently getting linked with. Ah, Maria's on the gin. Gin's the trendy drink at the moment, isn't it? So, is it a cocktail or is it just a gin with a mixer? She's not drinking gin straight, is she, Jeff? Siraj has hot chocolate. Best thing to drink when the temperature is 0. Hot chocolate is nice. Wife does bring me hot chocolate sometimes when I'm making videos or when I'm... not when I'm streaming. I don't think she's done that while I'm streaming. But when I'm on FIFA as well, she's done it. Hearts in the chat for Mrs. JNO, just in case she's watching. Biggest supporter of the channel. I know a lot of you are big supporters, but she's always very patient with me when I'm making videos and streaming. AM Saturday, asking, where is it that cold? Shouldn't you be drinking vodka? That's the stereotype we all have of Russians in England, is that you drink vodka because why not? You're cold already, so why not drink vodka, I guess. Water is all chaos drinks. That's very... I do have cleansing days where I just drink water, but yes, I'm a bad boy. I drink beer. I drink any drink, really. Michael Furley can't drink because the manager's put him on a ban. Seems a bit unfair to be banned all the time. Surely you should be allowed 1 day a week, like somewhere far away from a game. People can still join the mini league. If someone could put the mini league code in the chat, that would be much appreciated. Should be open until the very end, and if you start at the beginning, you'll just jump in wherever you jump in at with the points you have. Okay, so Rad Robbie Roller has Sterling, Ward, or Maguire, or Fernandinho, Aurier, and Alonso. I can already tell you I prefer that first 3. Fernandinho isn't the best midfield option in my mind. Aurier and Alonso. Alonso's very expensive and has not been returning. And for 7 million, you need him to be returning more often than he has been. So that is why I'm against Alonso, despite the fact he's in my team. The thing is, he's starting, and I need to fix other areas of my team. That's the only reason Alonso hasn't moved on yet. Siraj Karanja is confusing. I got Sterling and Jesus. Should I get rid of to make room for Aguero instead of Lukaku? Hazard or De Bruyne? If De Bruyne, should I sell Jesus? So for me, I would say De Bruyne for consistency so far over Hazard. Aguero instead of Lukaku if you think Aguero will get enough starts compared to Lukaku. But yes, it's very difficult. And I'd maybe sell Jesus for De Bruyne, but that means can you have Aguero and De Bruyne? Can you afford that? So it is very confusing. The Man City conundrum is very, very confusing at the moment, which is why Arsenal returning to form is great apart from their fixtures, because Arsenal's next games are Swansea, which is great if you have an Arsenal player, but then it's Man City and Tottenham. Then it might get easier after that, but if they return to form, the fact that they are in the Europa Cup means they potentially won't start their big players in that. And players like Lacazette, Sanchez, if they can hit form, Özil, Ramsey, could be great solutions to the problem of the rotation at Manchester City. Craig Manuel, the problem with Javier Hernandez, for me, is he just doesn't feel like in that side they're taking advantage of his poaching abilities. I feel like he could have been an absolute bargain in the Fantasy Premier League, but West Ham and Slaven Bilic aren't making the most of his talents. Rooney is definitely returning and is a vital point for that Everton side, despite the fact they're struggling. So that is why I don't have Javier Hernandez anymore. I don't like Calvert-Lewin because if anything changes at Everton, I feel like he may lose his starting place. Ayew, I do like, if you're talking about the one at Swansea. And then Hemed, I need to see a bit more from him to be trusting him already. Abraham is a good shout. I like the look of Abraham. I just don't like the look of the Swansea side. If the Swansea side was better around him, if Swansea still had Sigurdsson, Abraham would have been straight in my team at the price he's at. Craig Manuel getting Richarlison. I think if you don't have Richarlison, I feel like you need to pull the trigger and get him in. I can't say that name, AGCC. Claude Puel. If he's a Leicester manager, sometimes teams do really well the first game for a new manager, so it could be worth considering. Salah, Lukaku, and Morata as captain. I'd go Morata off the top of my head without looking at the fixtures. Who did Chelsea actually play though? Bournemouth. I'd go Morata. Salah has disappointed and his finishing isn't the best. And Lukaku, I feel like it, although I've said it could be a big scoring game, Man U like to go defensive against the big teams. What was Leicester's thinking? There are better options out there. I personally don't like the way Leicester have got rid of their last 3 managers. And I know they've won the Premier League, but the way they got rid of Nigel Pearson, the way they got rid of... how have I forgotten his name already? He won the bloody Premier League. Claude Ranieri, and the way they got rid of Craig Shakespeare. The fact is, yes, they all had runs of form that weren't the best, or they had another reason you could sack them for. But let's be honest, Leicester City have punched above their weight with that Premier League win, and they weren't playing really bad, and they had some tough games in there as well. I feel like Leicester could have turned it around if they gave Craig Shakespeare just a bit more time. But you know what? They've made their decision. I personally think they may rue the fact that they keep changing their manager. I never thought of Leicester as that kind of club until recently. So, you know what? That's their choice. So we've got the ages of some people in here. Oh no, this is everyone guessing my age. 16. AGCC is just trying to get in my favour. Siraj Karanja, 45. Ouch, Siraj, 45. Ouch. I'm nowhere near 45. Daniel Ringsell guessing, and he knows me. And he still got it wrong. 33 or 32. Thomas McCarthy says 33. Prince Kahuja says 27. AM says 29. Siraj 35. That's a lot closer, thank you. Michael Foley 19. Craig Emanuel 35. So I think that's all of it for the guesses. I'm 31. So I'm almost 32. So anyone that said 32, 33, 29, they're all close. So some good, decent guesses in there. I do get varying guesses about my age, especially depending on if my hair's been cut. If it's grown out, the greys are a lot more obvious. If I grow my beard, that often changes my age. But it's all subjective, isn't it? Isa T thinking it's Captain Richarlison for Game Week 10. Who are they playing? Against Stoke. And Stoke do concede goals, if memory serves me correctly. If that works for you, Isa T, come back to the stream and brag to everyone, because that could be a great shout. Do you think Ireland can beat Denmark to go to the World Cup? That's a touchy subject for me, because I have someone I consider a brother who's Irish, and I have a cousin who's from Denmark. So that's a tough call for me to make. I like both teams. I wish they weren't playing each other. Depends who I watch it with, I guess. But I think never bet against the Irish to upset the odds. But I believe Denmark are a better side. But it'd be a really interesting game, and I'm looking forward to watching that one. David Hamstone, keep Decore, trade up to Richarlison. Trade up, because whilst Decore's return has been great, sorry, I've just seen that Thomas McCarthy deleted someone's post. I know the person that posted that, and if you watch my gaming channel, he's the guy that tried to do my intro over and over again and kept messing it up. And he's the type of person that would come into the chat and try and say something stupid. So I'm not surprised you deleted his mention. Okay, anyway, Decore, 2 attempts, 2 from inside the box, 2 shots on target, 2 goals. Is he going to keep returning at that rate? Compared to Richarlison, 17 attempts, 11 inside the box, 4 big chances, 4 on target, 2 goals. Richarlison's much more likely to keep scoring than Decore. Michael Ringsell, hi Dad, love you. What I will say to the mods, Michael Ringsell is a friend of mine, but still feel free to delete his messages if he says something really stupid, because he's likely to do that. He doesn't seem to understand that to be advertiser friendly and to be friendly in the chat and all that kind of stuff, we don't swear if we can help it. Sometimes I still do swear. We don't say stupid things. We don't say derogatory things, blah, blah, blah. Jeff Holt, gin and tonic with ice and a slice. Nice drink. That's my favourite way to drink gin. I'm not a gin connoisseur by any means, but that's my favourite way to drink it. Michael Ringsell's now been timed out. Thomas, I'm not going to blame you. I would be tempted to time Michael out. Craig Manuel, I'm captaining Salah this week. First time I'm going for someone besides Kane or Lukaku. I'd say it's a good shout not to go for that. I might still do Kane just because everyone won't be doing Kane, if that makes any sense. That should help me jump in the rankings a lot. Aim Saturday brings up a good point. Decore does have better BAPS over Richarlison, but I think Richarlison will outdo Decore long term. I hope it's nothing serious, Siraj. Going to hospital tomorrow. Godspeed, all the best for that. And you're studying all night. I hate studying. I very rarely have to do it nowadays. I still have to do it sometimes, but I very rarely have to do it. I absolutely hate studying. Richarlison hasn't scored more goals in the last 4 games, but yes, he will score more goals in the long term. I'd say Sean Tan that Salah is a better option than King. Long is a better option than Davies. Aspie is not a better option than Hun my ear. If you can somehow keep Aspi, but I wouldn't take a hit, but that's my own opinion. Anyway, that is beer number 1 finished, and we still got questions, which is fantastic. Okay, Ben Mitchell. I have Chicharito as a third striker at the moment, but he's not doing much good. Any replacements? In his price range, Rooney is the one that springs to mind. But to be honest, out of the top players, there's only really cheaper options or more expensive options. I mean, the cheaper options you've got that are getting better underlying stats are Calvert-Lewin, Diouf, Shane Long, Andy Carroll, Abraham, Niasse, Rodriguez. The players getting better returns, more expensive, are, of course, the big players. But you're also looking at Vardy and Firmino. But otherwise, 7 shots, 5 on inside the box, on target only 3. That's a very difficult one. You may want to try and play the fixtures, and the fixtures suggest Everton, Burnley and Brighton. So Wayne Rooney could up his output because their fixture list gets a lot easier, Ben. Okay, we've got Red Mancunian, Okazaki Diouf, short term. Oh, that's a suggestion to Ben, so I don't need to read that. My bad. Daniel Ringsell, now you're 34. Go to bed, Daniel. Calling me 34. Best captain for Game Week 10, Salah, Eriksen, David Silva, Lukaku or Kane. I'd go Salah for goals because he could... Salah's capable of scoring 2 or 3 in a game. Man City against West Brom, then David Silva could also get a decent point return. I apologise if I said Ireland are boring. That is not what I meant. I mean, Denmark are a better side as in the quality of their players, I believe, from what I understand of both teams. But I will probably support Ireland. Probably. I feel bad saying that, though. Fantasy Premier League. How are you doing, my friend? Nice to see you in the chat. By the way, guys, everyone, Fantasy Premier League with a W in it is another FPL YouTube channel. Go subscribe if you want to support the FPL community. Also, someone being affected by this guy that's ripping off the official FPL videos. Vince Chapman, Decore finishes his dinner, end of. I'll tell you what, I wouldn't argue with Decore. If he turned up to my house and wanted his dinner, I'd give him his dinner. Jeff Holt just tweeted you a flock of seagulls video. I'll have a look at it in a second. If you didn't know, Daniel and Michael are brothers, and Daniel is calling his own brother weird in the chat. Siraj has to go. It's late. Till next time. I will be streaming Thursday, tomorrow, Siraj. Should probably be 9 o'clock. It may be a little earlier, maybe a little bit later, but I'll try and hit 9 o'clock. Aaron said I'm 34. I'm not 34, Aaron. Aaron, again, is someone I play FIFA with. If you go watch my other channel, he's in that video as well, taking the mick out of Mikey. Ben Mitchell, Aguero or Jesus, and David Silva, or Sterling or Sane. I'm confused at which of the options there, but I have been drinking. I believe David Silva is the safest option out of all those players. So long term, I'll be looking at David Silva. I feel like Sane is favoured over Sterling by Pep, so I'd maybe go Sane next. Aguero and Jesus, I think, could be rotation. They could both play, so it's very hit and miss. And then we will end on Vince Chapman's question because we've gone the hour, and I'm trying not to make these too long so people can watch them back. Vince Chapman, best captain, Morata, Sterling, Sane or Decore. I would go with Morata. Unless you really think Man City are going to thrash it, then I'd go potentially Sane with Morata as vice-captain. But the problem is, if Sane plays 10 minutes at the end of the game, then Morata won't get the captain point. So I'd stick it on Morata just to be on the safe side. Mignolet is the best captain. Debatable. AM Saturday on a side note, what will be going on with the second channel? Okay, so I will end on that. The second channel, it all depends heavily on... I basically, I'll be honest with you guys, I've had an audition. I sent an audition tape for another online content website around football. If I get the role, and it may be a bit further down the road because they're restructuring at the moment. If I get the job role, then this will be my channel, and then I'll also be working for the other place. So I won't be able to do a second channel. But that could be a month or two away. So the second channel, J&O, part of me wants to do Football Manager, part of me wants to do FIFA. I'm quite heavily trading. With the little spare time I have, I'm trading. I might start streaming games on Twitch. I might just stream games on like FIFA and Football Manager on Twitch. Just when I can, I'll just come on and stream for... But streaming on Twitch, you're meant to really stream for about an hour. Well, no, about 2 to 3 hours. And again, that's something I'll have to discuss with my wife. Whereas I could just record me playing games and then put it straight onto YouTube without much editing, which might happen on J&O. So we don't know. Football Manager and FIFA will be what happens on the other channel. I'm just not sure exactly what I'm doing because I'm waiting to hear back. I'm not allowed to talk about who the audition was with, but if that does come through, then I won't be doing a gaming channel. Okay, AGCC, enjoy the stream. Help as always. Good night, Jano. Thank you very much, AGCC. Great to see you in here, as always. He will do 3 assists. It would be hilarious if he did. We have had some assists from goalkeepers so far this season, so it's possible. Maria now snoring. Maybe you shouldn't tell everyone that. She might not want everyone to know. Maybe she's had too many G&Ts. If you still got some G&Ts left, I'll give you my address in a DM on Twitter. Anyway, thank you guys as always for tuning in. Thank you, Another Hoops. If you guys are available tomorrow, feel free to come and join the chat as well. I'm trying to understand Vince Chapman's post, but never mind. And also, as always, there are links in the description if you want to support the channel. There's the Fantasy Football magazine. There's my merchandise store. There's Patreon. There's also, you can support the stream specifically by hitting that sponsor button. And you can always super chat anytime during the stream. And then your question will straight away get put to the top of the pile. And I'll answer it as soon as possible. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. Thank you to some of my friends for joining in. Although one of them had their comments immediately deleted, which was hilarious. I've been J&O. This has been FPL Today. And remember, it's all about the game.